Hey y'all, what is going on? This is Jesse Both from the 19th hole. Got the rookie playthrough for the current St. Patrick's Day tournament. What we'll do is talk about the holes. We'll talk about a few different routes on some of the holes. We'll talk about club, ball, and elevation suggestions for these holes to help hopefully make this tournament a little bit better for you. And we'll start out with hole number 1 here, a par 3. So on this hole here, we'll play plus 15% for the elevation adjustment. I'll be using a backbone with a marlin ball. We're going with 1.5 bars of backspin, as much left spin as I can get with the marlin ball, which is about 2.25-ish bars. Now what we're going to be doing is trying to find that nice landing zone with our ball guide pointed towards the pin. And trying to find that perfect spot is the key to this hole. The ball guide's the second bounce is going to be about halfway between the edge of the fringe and the cup. As you can see, the ball guide was pointing straight towards the hole. So now what we're going to do is we're going to line up our shot. Plus 15% max is the adjustment we're going to play here on this shot. And hit it perfect is definitely helpful. We do that. And we're going to get the bounce, and we have a nice funnel look to the hole. And we're going to come up just a bit to the right here on this attempt. Roll around the backside and just barely leak out the edge. But definitely a really good chance to ace this one. And with that method, I think that it's definitely a possibility. Hole 2, par 4 is next. We'll be playing this one with plus 10% elevation on the drive. I'll be using an extra mile. I would recommend going with a katana ball. I think the extra distance for the drive is definitely important for this hole. If you want to go with a Titan ball, you could also go with a Titan ball, but I feel like a katana ball is sufficient for this shot. So max topspin, I go with a little bit of left spin to straighten out that ball guide. We want to aim this shot straight down the middle of that fairway, trying to give ourselves the possibility to be great left and great right and still be okay on the drive. I add a little bit of overpower. You don't have to, but overpower will get you a little bit farther down the fairway and set you up at a little bit better position for your shot with the thorn. So as we see, we hit great right there, but we were still okay with our drive. 371 is going to put us about mid-range for our thorn. So what first thing we're going to do here is we're playing 0% on this shot, and we're going to find our min club. We're going to put our take shot button at our min. We'll go to our max, and now we can figure out where we want to land our shot. So we decide to land it right in the middle, which would be mid club, and you want to go anywhere from 3 to 4 bars of backspin here. On this shot, I go 4 backspin, and now 4 backspin is okay, but when I turn my screen, you're going to see my ball guide was short of the hole. With 4 backspin, you need to make sure that ball guide is actually in the hole. So if you want to play your shot like I played it, then instead of 4 backspin, go with 3 backspin to give the shot a chance to roll out a little bit after it lands. So 50% club, mid-distance is what we played for our shot. And as you see, we had it right on line, which just came up just a little bit short of the hole. So a little bit too much backspin on that shot with that lineup. All right, hole number 3 here is next, par 5. I'll show you 2 different ways to play this hole. The first of which is going to be the way to the left-hand side. I'll be playing it with the quarterback and a big dog. Will be the clubs I use. We'll play plus 10% on the drive, and I recommend a Titan ball in this hole. Not really for the drive, but more or less for the second shot. You want that extra yardage for the second shot. So we're going to line up our shot here. Max topspin, a little bit of left spin to straighten out the ball guide. And then we want to line this shot up down the middle of the fairway as best as we can. And as you see, I'm pushing into overpower to see how much extra room I have on this shot. So we make our adjustment for our win. We push back up to max. And then we know we can go with a little bit of overpower here and still be okay as far as the run out goes on this shot. So we went with a little bit of overpower. And as you see, we are still with plenty of room to spare. So, you can go with about 25% overpower and be okay on this shot with the club and topspin that I used. All right, so big dog here. We'll play minus 10%. We're trying to aim somewhere in the middle of that pad. Max right spin, 1 bar of top spin. I would say 1 bar of top spin is the correct usage of spin. 2 bars, I think, is going to put you too far through the green. So 1 bar is what I went with. So we go with our adjustment here, minus 10%. We push back up the max. And we're going to go with a little bit of overpower here just to try to get this a little bit closer to the middle of this pad. About a half a ball of right curl on the shot as well. And as you see, this one turns out really well. We came really close to actually dropping this shot for the albatross, so I was very satisfied with that attempt. Alright, so for the second shot here, the second way here, I'm going to show you a power curl method with the quarterback. So with the quarterback that I have, the ring adjustment is about 20 rings for the power curl. If you go to golfclashnotebook.io and go to their slice section, then you can find out what ring amount is suitable for the club that you have. So max top and right spin is what I went with here. And we had our white ring kind of touching the edge of the rough line. We're going 20 rings for our slice, and then the additional 4 rings for our wind, which is 3.2 plus 10%. So we go in overpower, then we adjust our last 4 rings, and now we're going to go full overpower, full right curl, and full right slice. As you can see, the ball comes in and lands still a good little bit from the rough line. So we could have initially moved that white ring probably fully into the rough and been okay. And what that would have done was allow my ball to come in a little bit farther to the right towards the middle of that fairway, and maybe get a little bit farther down that fairway. If you can get farther down that fairway, I think it'll be the best way to play this shot, because then you'll have a straight on shot to the hole, and you can really make use of a ball guide. So like if you have like a sniper or something like that, that would make it really useful. I went with the Viper here. If you went with the big dog, you could even go farther up and have a little bit better of a shot on this hole, I think, from the location I was at. But we played this one minus 10% as well, and with a little bit of left curl, trying to curl that ball back towards the hole as best as we can, and it came in nice. A little bit strong, but still, you know, a really good attempt here, especially on a shot that I was really blind playing. I had no idea what it was going to be result-wise. So I put this one in, and each way, pretty easy eagle, I would say, on a hole that in the rookie is just going to be that, an eagle hole. Maybe get lucky and drop an albatross, but definitely make sure you get the eagle. Alright, hole number 4 is next. This is a hole that I would definitely suggest using a sniper if you have it, level 4 and up. If you don't have a level 4 and up sniper, then the Viper would be the club to use. Going with 1.5 bars of backspin. We want our yellow ring to be close to the edge of the rough line, and we're playing plus 10% for our elevation. So I did not trust my gut here. I went with the ball guide on this hole. As you're going to see, my yellow ring is a little bit short of the rough line on this shot, and I should have had my yellow ring right up there to the edge of that rough line. The ball guide is going straight to the hole, but it's barely making it to the hole in this shot, and as you're going to see, it's going to cost me in the end. So my ball is going to come up short and then kind of fade off to the right hand side. We hit this one perfect, and a little bit more pushed up in that fairway. We got a little bit better of a bump to the left, and I think we would have hit the shot. So definitely one that is possible to hit, and one that you should be hitting, especially late weekend rounds. Alright, hole number 5 here. This is a par 4. This is a really good chance at an eagle here. I'll be playing this shot with I think I do use a marlin ball. I would suggest going with the quasar though on this hole, but you can play it with a marlin ball like I'm going to use. Plus 10% for the elevation. I'm going with an extra mile. We're trying to set ourselves up for a thorn shot for our second shot with 4.5 topspin and max right spin here. If you use like a quasar ball, you can go with more right spin, and that allows you to set yourself up a little bit more aggressively on the shot, because it gives you also a little bit more power to land a little bit farther up as well. So with the marlin ball, I went with my clear ring about midway in the rough and the fairway. Make our adjustment, we push back up to max distance, and then we're just going to hit a regular power shot here. You know, you can maybe choose to go a little bit more aggressively at this hole with a little bit of overpower and maybe a little bit of right curl to try to get farther up and to the right here. And what that would do is just gives you a little bit better of a shot with your thorn at maybe more of like a mid or 25%, you know, type club shot. The way we're playing this shot is going to be right around 75%. We find our min, we mark that, we find our max, and as you see, our mid would be more back into that fairway. So we're just going to stick with the 75% club, and we're going to play with a couple bars of backspin on the shot. Another way you can play this hole is with no spin, in which case you would want to land your shot farther back and then just let your ball naturally roll to the pin. So we have our shot lined up here. We are playing 75% club, which is between max and mid numbers, with 2 backspin, and trying to hit this one perfect. Of course we don't hit it perfect, right? Great left. This ball's going to come in perfectly to the left. Perfect shot would have been a perfect result. All right, we got hole number 6 here. I'm going to show you 2 ways to play hole number 6, once to the right side and once to the left side. So we'll start off with playing it to the right hand side. I'll be using an extra mile, but you could also use a big topper on this shot as well. I recommend going with a Titan ball. It's going to give you that ability just to get farther down the fairway. It's really going to make your second shot to the cup a lot easier than if you use a lower power ball and you don't quite get your drive as far. Plus 20% here for the drive, max topspin. We're playing our shot right through that kind of that bottleneck in the fairway, and it's important to you know, to make your adjustment here and then push back up to max in a straight line. Doing that is going to keep your ball on line to where you're aiming it, and this is a very important hole to correctly aim your shot and play your shot. Otherwise, you will possibly clip that rough, which will hurt your drive distance on your shot. So this was a really good drive on this hole. 381 yards. Now I brought my big dog because I wasn't sure on what my drive yardage could be. But as you can see, I mean, our big dog had plenty of room. I mean, we could almost try to dunk this shot. So, you know, if you can play that shot, I would recommend going with a sniper or a viper, just for ball guide purposes. But, you know, if you want to be safe, definitely big dog would be the way I would play it, or even maybe a horizon if you do want that extra ball guide. I went with 1 bar topspin here. I did not need that 1 bar topspin, as you're going to see here in a moment, but I did play this shot at minus 10% for the elevation. So we make our adjustment here. I think we were at mid club for that elevation in adjustment, and we hit this one perfect. You're going to see it come in, it bounces nicely, and it rolls a little bit past the hole with that 1 bar of topspin. So I would recommend basically go at this shot with no spin. Just line the shot up to the hole as best as you can. End result, easy putt for the eagle. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to play this shot to the left-hand side now. Maybe you are someone that just doesn't like playing that shot to the right-hand side. Maybe in the past you've been burned to that right-hand side. So what we're going to look at is a shot to the left-hand side now. I'll play plus 20%, still on the drive. I'm using the quarterback. I went with 3 topspin. I would definitely maybe think about going with less topspin, or if you want to play with 3 topspin, just move your move your target back a little bit and not go with full max distance on the shot. I think the easiest thing to do is just play it like I played it, except go with less topspin, because as you're going to see, we come in very, very, very close to the edge of that of that fairway. So definitely not as much topspin is needed for that shot. So for the second shot, I chose to go with the horizon. I wanted the ball guide on the shot. This shot would also work with the big dog if you wanted to use the big dog. What we're trying to do is we're trying to bounce that second bounce into the rough and then just let it roll out to the green. I used the horizon because the ball guide lets you do this a little bit easier. I play this shot at plus 30%. It is severely downhill. And as you're going to see, we get the first bounce, the second bounce into the rough, just like we had it planned, and it's going to roll out nicely onto the green. A little bit of a roll back to the hole. It worked out really nicely. So if you don't like playing it to the left, to the right-hand side on the drive, playing it to the left-hand side is definitely a possibility. So just wanted to show you that other option. All right, hole number 7, par 4. This is another hole that you have a really good chance to drop the eagle on. You know, plus 10% for the elevation. I would recommend a katana ball. You want that left spin here for this shot. If you don't have the side spin 3 stat with the katana ball, then you get really close to that right-hand side on this shot. You really would have to use some curl to kind of make up for that lack of side spin. For me, I would rather play the shot and not have to worry about the curl. So for that purpose, you know, for that reason, I went with the katana ball. So I set up my shot here, basically with the blue ring right there on the edge of the rough line. And then we're going to make our adjustment here for our wind. I did not play it at full max because it is a headwind. So when I make my adjustment, I don't want to have to adjust into overpower on the shot. As you see, we bounce and we roll up nicely. Nothing too fancy is done. We could have gone with a little bit of overpower there and possibly got it a little bit farther up that fairway. But play with whatever you feel comfortable with to be able to hit that perfect shot. All right, so for this shot here, it's minus 10%. We're going to find our min adjustment, and we're going to mark it with our take shot. We're going to find our max, and then we're going to decide what we're playing from there. So we're going to play our shot right at mid adjustment, which is going to put us right there on that fringe. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go 2 backspin. I'm going to go 1 bar right spin to kind of straighten out that ball guide a little bit. And then we're going to aim it straight at the hole. Now we have a headwind, so we want that ball guide line to be closer to the edge of that hole because of that compressed ball guide, because of the headwind. We make our adjustment right here. It was minus 10% on the elevation at mid club. Bounce nicely, and we drop it for the eagle. And that's perfectly how this hole can be played. So hopefully you all can do the same thing and get the drop as well. All right, so we got hole number 8 here, par 3, another par 3 where you have a really good chance at the ace. I would say 4 and 8 are almost must drops on this course. These are both par 3s that you have just such a great chance. So we're playing with the sniper. We're going with 1.5 bars of topspin. If you don't have at least a level 4 sniper, then you will need to use the Viper on this hole. So we're going with our yellow ring right there on the edge of the rough line with our ball guide going towards the hole. So we're going to make our shot here, which is going to be plus 10% min adjustment. And we hit this one perfect with the Marlin ball. And it's going to come and roll nicely to the hole. And it looks really nice, but it's, oh my goodness, it just stopped. So I would go with just a tiny bit more topspin. So maybe like 1.6, 1.75 bars of topspin, just to make sure you get that shot right there a little bit closer. Or you could play it with 1.5 topspin and just play that yellow ring just a little bit more up into that, that fringe edge. All right, hole number 9, plus 10% here. We're going with the Berserker. We're going with our extra mile 5. Max topspin, we're going with a little bit of right spin. And we got to play full overpower on this shot. We make our adjustment for our wind, and then we're going to push our shot back up to max. This is a plus 10% adjustment shot. And full overpower. So if you have a higher level extra mile, the amount of overpower may vary depending on what club you have. And you definitely want to be careful about the amount of topspin you use as well. But with a level 5, max topspin, max overpower, if you hit it good or perfect, it's going to get you to this spot every single time. So from here, we're playing with our big dog. We'll play 0% here for this next shot. What we're going to do is we're going to line up our red ring along the edge of the rough line. And this is going to be kind of like the way we played it in our refresher video. So actually I think we have our red ring about halfway into the edge of the rough line. We're going to play max curl to the right hand side. We went 3 top, max right. and a little bit of overpower on the shot. And this one's going to come in really nice, as you can see, and it rolls right there along the edge of the fringe, and that's about what you can ask, all you can ask for right there. It could have maybe gone with a little bit less topspin, and that ball would have gripped a little bit better and went a little bit farther to the right. But I think 3 topspin, max right spin are the correct numbers and the best way to play this hole to guarantee yourself to get to this hole. So this is a very simple little chip here. As you see, I have the Firefly, so I played my topspin. So I had a very small distance to chip it and then just let it roll into the hole and drop it for the eagle. And I think this is definitely a hole that could become a must-eagle hole for sure. Alright, y'all, thank you very much for joining me for this rookie playthrough for the current St. Patrick's Day tournament. Hopefully you can use the information on this video to improve your round. I always recommend that you use what you see here and then build upon it throughout the week to your clubs and to your skill. Have a great day. God bless.